All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Marriage Matters with Ken and Shar. Great to have you in. I'm Ken. She's Shar. How you doing today, babe?
Celebrating 2026.
You are? What is today? 2 weeks in? We're a week and a half into the new year?
A week and a half. I cannot believe it's 2026.
I know. That's wild.
It is wild. We haven't been here for a month.
No, we were just looking at each other going, this feels weird to be back in front of the microphones again. It's been over a month, I think.
Yeah, and
so we kind of went dark in December, didn't we?
No, we went dark on the episodes, but boy, were we busy.
Yeah, just real quick, just give everybody a quick rundown. We just had like a zillion people in the house.
We did. Our family is always expanding.
There's 19 of us when we're all together, all the grandkids and our families.
Yes, and it was crazy, but fun. We had them all here for 2 weeks. Not all of them. Some came and went.
Yeah.
We had most of them here for 2 weeks, and it was a blast. But oh my goodness, we've gotten old, Kenny.
It made you feel old, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It did. We had a lot of food.
Yeah.
A lot of tears. A lot of, not from me, but you got little babies, and
oh yeah, that added a whole dimension to everything. We have two little grandsons. They're 2 years old, and
it's been 8 years since
chasing them around does make you feel old again, right?
Yeah. Yes. So we were out of practice with the baby stuff.
The funny thing is, we had to put baby gates up all around the house to keep them in a certain area because they're very busy, these twins. And so Charlene and I are high-stepping over these baby gates wherever we go. And it's like, I said, dude, man, my hip flexors have never been in this good a shape. I'm high-stepping over everything.
It was so funny because we were too cheap to go out and buy any, and we had gotten rid of all of our other baby gates that has a little pass-through that you can open it and shut it. So we got these baby gates you have to step over. And it was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It really was. It took us about a week or so to get back to normal, and now here we are. And
we ended up the last family flew back out to head back down to Florida on New Year's Eve.
Right.
So we collapsed back here on New Year's Eve, and we did nothing. We sat on the couch and took a deep breath, and then it took us 3 days to
do all the bedding.
Oh, the bedding, towels, and laundry, the sheets.
It was fun, and what we do it reminded us how selfish we are and how we have a really cushy little life around here when it's just me and you.
Oh, totally.
We don't have to serve the whole family like we had to, and it was good. He brought us back to mom and dad mode that we just went, let's just work. And I want to say something. It was really sweet. I work a lot around the house. I do. I have a tremendous energy, and I see everything that needs to be done. But Kenny, not so much, because he's, always been out working in the ministry. And I told him before everyone came, I said, Kenny, you have to be on your A game. I cannot do this alone.
She did. She gave me a heads up.
I said, I don't want to
I need you to.
I don't want to have to ask you to do things. I want you to be able to take out the trash when it needs it and pick up this. And you know what? You just worked your little. You worked hard.
Well, you gave me a heads up, and I thought, okay, I can. I'm on. I can do this.
It was great.
So
I felt very supported in that it wasn't all up to me.
No.
And
our kids did. They're so wonderful. They cooked a lot, cleaned a lot. It was really a joint effort. It was busy.
All hands on deck.
All hands on. It was.
It was fun.
I hope everyone had a great holiday. So that brings us to this. We're glad to be back. We did this last year too. We took December off, and we did this year. We're just to get everybody caught up. Maybe you're finding the podcast for the first time. We're a little bit into a series that's probably going to be 6 or 7 parts called Marriage in the Beginning. We're just going back into the Old Testament and looking at the earliest marriages recorded.
And can I add something?
Yeah, sure.
They're a lot like ours.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, human nature hasn't changed much since the beginning of time.
No, the fallen nature is the fallen nature,
yes,
right?
It is.
So we last episode, we looked at Adam and Eve and took away some really salient points about both husband and wife and the brokenness that we all bring into our marriages. I mean, look, That's the reality.
Right.
Charlene married a really broken man, and I married a broken woman. Sin has damaged us all. And the wonderful hope is that the Holy Spirit is redeeming all that broken stuff. And our marriages, more and more, every passing day or year, begin to really reflect the love of Jesus and put him on display. But left to ourselves, that's what you're going to see in this episode. Left to ourselves, it goes south really, really fast.
Or I find when you're left to stressful situations, like what we're going to be going over today with Abraham and Sarah, it was a stressful situation in their life.
Right.
One chooses themselves over the other.
Yeah.
And I see this in me so much. And we haven't got into it yet, but life is a series of stressful situations.
Oh, yeah. They line up. Yep.
No matter what life you have, where you live, anything, it is a series of stressful situations that you have to be aware of what it is doing to your spouse too. Not just you, your spouse.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this one.
So yeah, a little bit of heads up. We're gonna be reading a brief narrative from Genesis chapter 12, verses 10 through 20. Before we do, though, just a quick heads up. It's really easy to come down pretty hard on these Old Testament saints. They did a lot of weird stuff. I mean,
but don't we?
At least by our standards today,
well,
right?
Yeah.
But culture was very different than one thing. Number two, you're talking 2,000 years before the revelation of Christ came to our world, and Jesus as God in flesh, the perfect man, the God-man, before we see what a perfect humanity is, there was no revelation of it at all, right? And it's centuries before Moses would be given the law. So there's no law, there's no written revelation of God, and Jesus hadn't been on the scene. So the knowledge of God and the understanding of God and his ways and his created order is very in its infancy. Men did not have a big revelation of God. Today, look what we have.
Right.
I'm looking at my desk behind Charlene where we do our recording here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 14 Bibles lined up. Every possible translation is lined up behind her. There's more on the coffee table. I have them on my bedside. So does she. There's probably 30 Bibles in our home, right? The Holy Spirit lives inside of us as believers. They had none of that.
Right.
They had no written revelation.
Right.
They didn't have the witness of the Holy Spirit who guides us into all truth. So let's not come down too heavy-handed when we see them doing stuff that, to be quite frank, is acted out in our lives every day as well.
Totally right.
Maybe not as exaggerated as you're going to see it in the story, but we are not unlike them, even though we have the written revelation of God and we have the Holy Spirit. These challenges for fallen nature, the temptations of men remain very much the same. Lastly, Romans 15, verse 4, I love this verse. It says, for whatever things were written before were written for our learning. So he's saying, Paul in Romans 15 is saying, whatever was written about before Christ was written for our learning, that we, through the patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope. So the whole Bible is inspired by God, and even the things written from thousands of years ago, the records that we have, the narratives that we have, they're for our learning. And man, I think this is what we're going to learn a lot from these Old Testament saints and their marriages.
I think when I read that, I think about that we may have hope that God's still is working in us. When we mess up like they messed up, we still have a hope that he's working it in our lives.
I love that. So I'm going to read from Genesis 12 real quick. I rarely do this, but I'm just going to read the narrative very quickly here. Genesis 12, by the way, I've said this before, this one's for free, gang. I think of my Bible as Genesis 1 through 11, and then 12 through through the maps at the end, because that's where God chooses Abraham out and sets forth his redemptive plan and purpose from that moment on. Genesis 12 is a massive chapter. Abraham has just been called by God to leave his countrymen, and I'll tell you where to stop. I'm going to do this great thing. I'm going to make a nation out of you, give you land, and out of that nation and out of that land is going to come one who will be a blessing to every family of the earth, which is a prophecy concerning Christ.
Right.
So the redemptive plan of God, how he's going to redeem broken humanity, gets set forth right here in Genesis 12. So when he takes off, he takes his family, and I'm going to pick it up in verse 10. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to dwell there, for the famine was severe in the land. And it came to pass, when he was close to entering Egypt, that he said to Sarai, his wife — she hadn't been called Sarah yet — "Indeed, I know that you're a woman of beautiful countenance." Now, I like that part. I think we should pay our wives compliments every day. Charlene, I know that you are a woman of beautiful countenance, but it goes really downhill fast from there, okay? He says, "So I know you're beautiful. Therefore, it's going to happen when the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but they will let you live. Please say that you're my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that I may live because of you." Okay. Now, underscore that in your thinking, because we're going to come back to it a bunch. So it was, when Abram came into Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman that he was with was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh also saw her and commended her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. He treated Abram well for his sake. He had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female servants, female donkeys, and camels. But the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this that you've done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say, 'She's my sister'? I might have taken her as my wife," which means he didn't yet.
Right.
So the Lord wonderfully spared her, right? "I might have taken her as my wife. Now, therefore, here's your wife. Take her and go away." So Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him. They sent him away with his wife and all that he had. Now, just real quick, he repeats this exact same scenario in Genesis chapter 20. In Gerar, he's afraid of King Abimelech, and he does the same thing. He says, "Say you're my sister, that I might live. They're going to kill me." So we have this really weird situation where a husband, to protect his own — let's see if this lands with anybody. It sure does with me. He, in an effort to protect his own life and preserve himself, he places his wife in ridiculous danger.
Right.
Right? Sexually danger.
Right.
Physically danger, emotional scars. He set her up to be greatly damaged because he was too fearful, couldn't trust God, and was too big of a coward.
Who does that sound like, huh?
Well,
All of us?
It's acted out every day, and this is what we really wanna hang some flesh on today. This isn't a message — we gotta be careful here, 'cause though Abraham fails his marriage miserably here, right? I'm scared. I'm gonna protect myself. I don't really care what happens to her. It doesn't matter, that I might live. And he repeats those words, by the way, in Genesis 20, that I might live, right? So the point is that this is acted out, particularly in men's lives, though I don't think it's only a man's problem.
No.
A wife can be self-preserving too, at the expense of her own husband, in just as many ways. So I suppose it's a fallen nature problem, right?
I do think so. I think it is more predominant in men, especially in the past, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I do think that women are pushing back almost to the extreme.
Right.
And doing the same thing. And we see that in marriages too.
You bet.
At an alarming rate. I have seen in younger women the fact of, I am going to preserve my life and get what I want.
Right. I'm not
and
happy.
What I find
I'm
that
going to
I
abandon
need,
everybody.
I am going to, it doesn't matter about my husband or my children.
Right.
And it is alarming to me, but that is still human nature.
Right.
It's just wives couldn't get away with it before.
Right.
Now they can.
Yeah, they can. In that culture, you wouldn't have, wouldn't have seen that.
I don't know what Sarah could have done.
In the West culture today,
Right.
The pendulum has swung, and women, in an attempt that same way that men have always been life-preserving and really, we're talking about
Totally.
selfishness and
Totally.
self-centeredness, right?
Totally.
So let's talk about how this really does fly in the face of God's design for marriage.
Right. And how it affects us as a husband and a wife.
Oh.
And how we preserve our marriage, and are we gonna preserve our marriage, our unity, or are we gonna preserve ourselves
Right.
over the other?
Right. Listen to just a few verses here. Let's create get some Bible underneath us here as a foundation. Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, one of Shari and I's favorite passages, describes one of the purposes of marriage this way: two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. If they fall, one will lift up his companion, but woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him. Again, if two lie down, who will keep warm? But how can one be warmed alone? Though one man may overpower another, two can withstand that attack, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So what those verses are saying is that the purpose of marriage is for me to advance your life, to warm you when life is chilly and cold, to pick you up when you fall down. I am in your life and you're in my life specifically for those moments.
But I find that a lot of times in marriage, ours included, one is the reason that somebody's down. Their spouse is the one who's knocking them down.
Yeah, right.
Instead of being there as their comfort to pick them up.
Go.
And I find that probably more often than the outside world coming in and damaging
the damage from
one
within.
of us. It's damage from within.
Yeah.
And that's what's really scary.
Yeah.
It's so totally opposite of what God has created marriage to be.
Yep.
For you and
I. The New Testament describes it another way, what love is, including marital love, I think. Jesus said in John 15, greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. See, this is what Abraham failed to do.
Right.
He was too cowardice to die to himself. If I die, I die, but I will not put you at risk. I will protect you at all costs. This was a test that he didn't pass. Right. The instinct of fallen nature to preserve me, to get mine, to protect myself and to advance myself was so strong that he was willing to, and he loved her. He did it. It wasn't a love problem.
He loved her.
Right?
Yeah.
But in that moment where it was time for him to be courageous and to trust God for his life, if I die, I die, but I will not put her in peril. He couldn't do it. And he did it twice, right? So to me, this is really revealing about fallen nature, I guess, for both men and women.
I think when we think about this, because we would never do that to our spouse.
Right.
But yet we do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
When put into a stressful circumstance.
Without even, just, I mean.
You're right.
We'll talk about some of these examples here in a minute, but it goes on all the time. I've done it.
Oh, I have too, many times.
And I'll probably share a story of how that manifests itself early on, and it's not good. So Ephesians 5, familiar verse to many of us, says, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church, and gave himself for her. Again, this is what Abraham failed to do. John 17, verse 2, says of Jesus, and you, or to the Father has given him, Jesus, authority over all flesh. So he's a leader, he's the head, that he should give eternal life to as many as you have given him. This is interesting, because with authority, what did Jesus do with his authority? All power was given to him, all authority over all flesh. What did he do with it? He stretched his body out on a cross and gave himself for us. Everything you're going to read in the Bible about the love of God, that's to be manifest within marital love. That marriage exists to put his love on display for the world, has to do with a willingness to sacrifice. It measures one's love for their spouse. And this is, again, where Abraham and myself at times, and probably every man listening, has failed. again, I don't think it's only a man problem, but it seems that selfishness seems to be more of a male thing than a female thing. And by the way, this echoes if you roll back even further into the fall of mankind, there are echoes of Adam here.
All right.
When God said, Adam, did you eat of the tree that I commanded you not to eat? I can see his little wheels turning going, okay, wait a minute. If I say yes, I'm going to die because the Lord said the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. So if someone's got to die today, it's not going to be me. And what came out of his mouth was, well, the woman that you gave me, she did it, right? And he passes the blame to her, thinking he might survive this, right? If she dies, hey, that's okay, because I'm going to live. I'm not the one that's going to die today. And again, I just think this is acted out in many ways by married men and women.
Well, that's what I'm thinking as we're talking about it. How does it look? How does it look now? I mean, we're not gonna go down to Egypt and Pharaoh isn't gonna want me.
Yeah, not gonna put you in his harem, right?
I don't think so.
At 69 years old. Heck yeah, man.
So how does it look?
Well, I one example I thought as we were talking about this earlier was years and years ago, I got this. I was already senior pastoring and I had the feeling that I needed to have a degree. I didn't have a degree. I just self-taught. And it made me feel weird. So I get this wild thing that I need to have a degree, and I think we had 2 children. We had Cole was born.
Yeah, Coleman was it.
And I decided I'm gonna go back and get my degree. I had a few college credits, probably a year and a half, just short of an AA. And I thought, I'm gonna go back and pound through this. And there wasn't internet, right?
No.
College. So you had to be on site. So I go to night school every night of the week. And what did I take that first? I took 3 or 4 3-unit classes. I think I took 12 units or something. And
working full time.
Yeah, so
having 3
I was
children.
pastoring a church. I wouldn't even come home. I'd go straight up to the college and come home at 10 o'clock at night.
I remember it well.
Oh, and poor Charlene was home literally from sunup to late at night with raising our 3 children. And she was hurting over it. She was lonely, she was isolated and tired. And I just kept driving forward. I didn't listen. It's kind of like, and in this, there are echoes of both Adam and Abraham. Look, if you got to die here for me to get what I want, to fulfill my goal, to advance myself, then that's the way it is. I'm not going to die on this hill. I want this. And of all the selfish things I've done, and I've done plenty, that might be the most glaring to me.
Well, I think it was the most damaging to us.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It was damaging our marriage.
Yeah.
And no matter how, when I had issues and I needed to talk to you about it, you weren't going to budge.
Right.
So it was all you.
Right.
And everything, I got nothing.
Right.
I got nothing. There was no compromise whatsoever. And I think I was
dug in.
I was 30 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I began to despise you.
Yeah, there was
that
resentment
was the problem.
building. Yeah.
And I had never felt that way before about you. And it scared me. Because I know that I'm not going to divorce him. You know, I'm committed. I'm committed to the Lord. But I do not want to be married to him anymore. Because I don't like him now.
How do you think Sarah felt?
Oh, I can't imagine.
Okay, she's thrown into his harem.
I can't imagine.
And the Lord definitely, it appears from the text that she was spared.
Right.
But she was literally thrown into his harem for a period of time. We don't know how long a period of time before the Lord moved there. But I'm sure she didn't come out and go, wow, honey, thanks. Let's do that again.
Right. Well, and she didn't even have a say-so.
No.
At least I could speak. It didn't do me any good.
Right.
And it wasn't changing things.
Right.
But we both knew there was some big conflict in our marriage.
Right.
And I think, like I said, the thing that was so damaging to me was the fact that you did not care.
Didn't care.
What was happening to me at all.
And that was a test in my marriage that I failed. Right. This was time for me to die on that hill that she might live. Right.
Right. So I think there's a few other circumstances that are common to marriages that one can literally just kill the other one.
Yeah.
Or basically just say, "I'm living and I don't really care what happens to you.
This is about me.
This is about me and me only." And I like to go through that so people can hang a little flesh on it. If you're listening and going, "Well, how does that look in my marriage?" We're gonna give you some examples or some subjects that you can say, "How does it look?"
Right.
What we would like each couple or whomever's listening to say, "Okay, Lord, how is that? How am I killing my spouse or damaging my marriage with my actions or my attitudes?" Because that's what we want. We want that more than anything.
Well,
it's good for me.
One way I can tell you it's acted out all over the place is just in the realm of communication. When someone is frustrated and wanting to be heard,
it's true.
I'm going to yell.
That's true.
Someone's going to scream, and they're wounding their spouse to somehow satisfy their need to be heard and to have power.
Right.
And so it can really become abusive, right?
Oh,
Where
very true.
I'm living here, you're going to hear me. I don't really care how my language or my voice or the names I'm calling you affect you, because I'm being gratified here, right?
You're right.
And just in that alone, in the way husbands and wives can tend to at times communicate when they're frustrated or angry or hurt or whatever, they literally are exposing their spouse to death when they do that. Other ways, I think of women, we've had plenty of instances, tends to be, I think, more of a female thing is financial risk, is shopping.
I don't agree. I think
you don't think so?
Even Steven on that.
You think you do?
I do. I think it's even Steven.
Where one has what we're talking about here is a spending issue where they're putting their spouse or family at financial risk and they won't quit spending.
Right.
Right.
Right. When they're supposed to be a protector. Of that.
Well, you're right. You know what, Charlene? You're right. That's as much of a dude thing.
It is.
Dude, I want a new truck and I don't care I don't know, we have no life insurance to cover us. We have no this, no that.
Women go to TJ Maxx and buy a few things. Maybe they shouldn't.
Men buy big stuff.
Men buy big stuff. I think of the sexual nature of just putting your spouse at risk, either by withholding or demanding too much.
Right.
And both of those things are really damaging to the relationship.
Yeah.
And unwilling to listen and talk and try to get a breakthrough in the sexual realm is huge, because it's an issue most people do not feel comfortable talking about. And especially their feelings on it and what it does to them, but it does damage them.
Yeah.
And it's usually left very silent.
Right.
And I find that sad because it is such a wonderful gift that God has given us.
Yeah.
And of course, Satan will come along and want to cause conflict there. And then it bleeds into another realm,
Yeah. Oh, there's an emotional component to this that we can subject them to just undue emotional pain just by them being isolated, not enough interaction, not enough communication between a husband and wife.
Well, and I think on the spiritual realm too.
Sure.
Many couples that we have spoken to and we've seen throughout our life, they're not on the same plane spiritually. And one is demanding and the other one is withholding. And
one's starving to death spiritually. They want to engage life spiritually. They want to be in church. They want to go to a Bible study. They want to fill their home with Christian activity and people who love God. And the other one doesn't want to, doesn't have an appetite, controls everything. And they're going to leave their spouse spiritually starving to death. We listed these ways. We just talked about them for a moment, but let me list them out. Married people, let's just say it like this. Married people are to care for and protect their spouses, no matter what the personal cost to themselves, in these following arenas: spiritually, emotionally, sexually, financially, socially, and physically. Socially, how does that work out? Well, how many times have I cringed at somebody to get a chuckle and to be a funny man makes fun of his wife,
Right.
or says something embarrassing, makes fun of her, or pokes a joke
Mm-hmm.
and gets a big chuckle out of it, but she's dying inside of embarrassment. Or a wife the same way, demeaning her husband,
Right.
sharing things about her husband that
Disrespect.
he's cringing,
Being
but
disrespectful.
she's got a chuckle out of it. She's the funny person in the party. And I'm thinking, don't do that to one another. Protect one another. I mean, this is central to why God and how God designed marriage to function. I am Charlene's provider, protector, caregiver. She's mine.
Exactly. It's not just a
No,
man's responsibility, it is
no,
a woman's too.
no. That's what that Ecclesiastes 4 talks
Right.
about. It doesn't say when the wife is cold, the husband. It just says when either one is in danger in any way,
Right.
that the other is willing to sacrifice themselves for the other's highest good. And again, obviously the model, even as I said that describes Jesus to a T, right? But that's the love that we're to offer one another. There shouldn't be anything that I would not do of hardship to myself to make Charlene's life better. And when two people are doing that at the same time, and Charlene is reciprocating that, there's nothing that she would not do to advance my life and help me, encourage me, give me life. You got something really powerful at that point.
Well, and I find also just with life circumstances, you tend to slip. And you get, at least I do, okay, I'm talking to me. Sometimes I take liberties because I'm not being as intentional and thinking about you.
Right.
And what that could do to our marriage.
Well,
and
intentionality, that's a great point.
It's like I'll take liberties that I shouldn't take.
Yeah.
And usually the Holy Spirit is very quick to convict me. And we both do that. All married people do that. But I think that what this episode is, let's start.
It's a reminder, right?
Yeah, it's a reminder of this. This is an age-old thing that's happened since the beginning of time. This is in our fallen nature, and we can slip back toward that at any time.
Right.
So let's not do that.
Selfishness, self-promotion over them. Right. Absolutely.
Let's keep that where it should be, so we are the things that God has called us to do, to be to each other. And I think I know that's the way I want to be treated.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave you guys with this thought. We've been saying this a lot, and I just more and more, I just think this is so central to what makes great marriages great. Proverbs 29:18 says that where there is no vision or revelation, the people cast off restraint. They wander aimlessly is another way of translating that word. In fact, one translation has it, when people do not accept divine guidance from God, they run wild. And this is one of those things where you need a vision for this.
Right.
Men, you need a vision as her protector, no matter what the cost to you. Wives, you need some kind of vision that's alive in you to be caring for him and protecting him.
Exactly right.
Right? Even if it costs you. And again, when two people at the same time are filled with that kind of vision and operating that way, marriage is just, it's wonderful. And it really puts him on view for the world to see, because that's the way that he loves us.
Especially training your children and
what they see.
Yeah, they see.
You bet.
Yeah. So
awesome.
This is fun to start the new year with that in mind and reminding us of how important this is.
Yeah.
And we're never going to be perfect.
No.
We're not.
No.
We're broken.
We got to revisit this a zillion times in our life, right? And but I tell you what, if someone's going, man, I just don't think that way, ask God.
Yeah.
Lord, I need vision. I need you to stoke something, the fires in me or something, because I need to every day somehow be filled with that understanding. Or we slip into that Abrahamic fallen nature way where we're going to preserve ourselves at their expense. Right? Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for checking in with us. We are off and running again. We'll drop a new episode every other Wednesday. So this is our first one of 2026.
There we go.
We're excited to be with you again. Yeah? All right. God bless you guys. Until next time.
Bye-bye.